much did you know about me before you wrote that story?
Your story is just literally every line. I mean, seriously.
And just seeing that happen again in your story, well, that's just, that can't be a coincidence, obviously.
That's fantastic. Wow.
So there's some pieces of that story that are quite profound and are right in reality.
Shariah said, I want my light to shine, Jasmine. Jasmine kissed Shariah's forehead and said, glow. Let your glory shine. You're worthy, Shariah. Therefore, Shariah turned away from her magical mentor and faced the dark forest before her.
Jurri, it's just incredible. It's so Holy Spirit inspired. And that's why it moves me to tears, because I just felt like he literally spoke to you. He literally spoke to you about me.
Want to know what story you're in? Discover your own tale in books written about you. Imagine a library in heaven that contains books with stories written about you and me. These stories could be in any genre, from fantasy, mystery, action-adventure, or romance. Do you want to know what story you're in?
I love that you are using what you have in a powerful way to reach people that's outside of the box.
Yeah.
You're using your skill set to lower the wall that would keep people from wanting to receive, and you're releasing what you have in a way that can be received by someone who doesn't yet know the love of God.
Yeah.
And I really commend you for that. It is a forerunning that you are doing.
Thank you.
You're pioneering it.
Yeah.
A couple people text me, what does this mean, when I sent them the link.
Right.
I've never heard of this before. That's right, because I think Jurri's the only one doing it. And I really commend you for it.
Thank you. Marsha and Edwin, thank you.
Order a personalized, revelatory, unique story to discover the glory inside your heart. Peer into the pages of the Father. Become a legend and discover your identity and destiny here in Legends of the Wind. Click the link, order now.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Legends of the Wind podcast. I'm Jurri Schenck, and with me is my special surprise guest, Marsha Hays.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Guys, thank you. I am in the hot seat tonight. We have an incredible group already logged in on our show. Thank you, everyone, for saying hi to each other and hi to the show. I can't list off everybody. I tried to say hi at the beginning. I'm really glad that our little intro is now at the beginning instead of somewhere in the middle of the show. It seems to be fitting better. So what is this show all about for those of you who are near? This is about prophetic storytelling. This is where I, or Marsha now, can hear a story for someone else prophetically from heaven. And it's about imparting an encounter for that person receiving a story, for them to have such an experience where they understand their identity and their destiny and even the love of God. And so I want you guys to know I'm really tired. I've only had 3 hours of sleep, and I'm really raw today. So I don't really know what I'm going to be doing in this show. So bear with me if I have something happen, okay? But I know I trust Marsha. I know she's a safe person for me. And then she had came to me and said that God gave her a story for me. And I was blown away by that idea that this is manifesting. And I'm always, if you watch my other shows, I don't want to be the only one that does this. This is something that honestly anybody can do if they go down that road. And I just want to encourage you guys in the show that this is possible for you as well. You can do this for your friends and family, and it's a really rich way of communicating the kingdom. So, Marsha, would you like to introduce yourself to the people on the show?
I certainly would. Well, Jurri, thank you for trusting me enough to be on this show live. I've known Jurri for about 1.5 years now, him and his family, and Edwin and I just love them to pieces. And so I'm excited to be on here. I've received a story from Jurri. We had lived in Thermopolis, Wyoming, where he resides for a couple of years. And so I was really excited to meet him and to learn about the gifting that God had placed within him. It's bold and it's creative, and I really admire it. So I wrote a story for Jurri because I had heard Jurri say on a few of his shows, I always give out stories, but I never get them. And so I said to the Lord one day, if I hear him say that again, Lord, can we write a story?
Nice.
So here we are. I'm going to tell you that I am not a story writer. And I would say my creativity is completely limited. However, I do hear from the Lord. And so I was excited when I wrote the story, and I did it. I just sat down. It was similar to what Jurri explains. I got a title. And then when I sat down to write, I got the story, and I just wrote until it was done. And so I'm really nervous delivering it to a professional, but I'm excited to do it at the same time. I believe there are messages and gemstones in the story for Jurri.
Wow.
And I'm excited to be able to share it with you.
Well, okay. Thank you. You know, I was telling Marsha just before the show started, I'm so aware of my vulnerability right now. I mean, usually when I'm doing this for someone else, I enter in some sort of zone, a flow, and I am not in that place right now. Now, we'll see, but may the flow be with you. So I always want to acknowledge some people in the chat. Joe Moon from the Moon says, hola, hello. Alisha says, yay, this is much better than just playing music. Come on, Holy Spirit from Brian. Thank you, Deborah. Guys, thank you for showing your support. Thank you for coming. So like I said, you know, if you want to be participating in Legends of the Wind, look in the description below. We have a Black Friday sale going on for buy one get one free for $145. You can get a story for yourself and for someone else for this deal right now, and it ends November 30th. But that's all the business I want to do right now. Let's go in.
Okay, so as we prepare for the story, I've got an assignment for those of you who are on the podcast to grab a piece of paper and a pen and jot down some questions or things that are drawing to your attention. That's what the guest should have done as well.
Yeah.
Because as he shares with all of us, it's like receiving from a fire hose and splatters happen everywhere, and you might not capture all of it. So I'm going to really count on each of you in the chat after the story to help unpack what it is that is being revealed, and to help Jurri begin the application process. So that is your assignment as we begin. So Jurri, I get to ask the question. Do you know what time it is?
It's story time.
Yes. Very good. Jurri, your story is titled Permission Granted.
Okay.
This is the final boarding call for passenger Jurri. How do you say your last name?
Schenck.
Schenck, thank you. For passenger Jurri Schenck, booked on flight 444 to planet 55.
Huh.
Please proceed to gate 3 immediately. The final checks are being completed, and the captain will order the doors of the spacecraft to close in approximately 5 minutes' time. Thank you. Jurri heard the announcement and was filled with anxiousness as he quickly made his way towards the gate. Other people were slowing him down. Didn't they know the urgency of him getting to the spacecraft? Why were people seemingly stuck in slow motion? Jurri didn't have time to contemplate that. He had to move at lightning speed. With all eyes on him as he boarded, Jurri was flustered as he looked for his compartment. Then he saw people motioning him to the only vacant one as they excitedly exclaimed, "It's over here!" He quietly wondered why they would be so excited to help him find his way. As he settled in for the short flight, his mind pondered all that had happened. His charter was paid for in full. He wasn't sure who paid for it. On top of that, the training to equip him to be among the first humans to go to Planet 55 was also paid in full. He never would have been able to afford this exorbitant cost of such an adventure on his own. He leaned back in his peculiar looking seat with a huge sense of gratitude and a lot of excitement. He said to the Spirit that he wished the time could go slowly so that his adventure could last longer and be compacted with great and unthinkable things. Hearing final approach to Planet 55 caused Jurri to swallow hard, and he noticed a lump in his throat as his stomach dropped into his toes. He was the first to begin exiting. He was in a surreal haze as he grabbed his gear bag. The others waited for him to exit the craft, and he wondered if, since he was the last, he is the first. The first to step on Planet 55. Is this really happening? As everyone came off the craft, he noticed they were looking at him. After an uncomfortable silence, he asked what was going on. A gentleman with a bright orange hat spoke first. "We're waiting for you to tell us, Commander." Then a lady with a pastel purple shirt chimed in. "You're the one who imagined all of this and brought it into reality.
Oh, wow.
We're just along for the adventure." Jurri was blown away. Yes, it's true. He had imagined this planet many times, then was shocked to realize it existed when someone got a hold of him with the invitation to go and shared that it was all paid for. What was that lady's name again? Trying to recall, he snapped back to the present and realized he'd have to think about her name later. Right now, 32 sets of eyes were on him. As he looked around, he saw a sign suspended in the air that greeted him. "Welcome, Commander Jurri and Exploration Team. To you, it has been granted to know the mysteries."
Oh, wow.
Jurri was blown away. That is something he often quoted. His mind swirled back to what he just realized. That free training and equipping that he got was for him to be a commander. Whoa, am I the commander of this exploration, he wondered. Time stood still. He concluded he was in charge of all these people. How did this happen without him agreeing to it? Thinking quickly, as he checked in with the Spirit, he told the people to find their accommodations, get settled in, and to reconvene in 2 hours. Jurri looked around and saw so many out-of-this-world gadgets, contraptions, devices, and mechanisms as he was trying to find his cabin. He explored a bit on his way. He saw words suspended in the air and some coming together to make sentences. He went to touch the word unique. As he felt the word, it had a zapping feeling in his fingers, and then he realized he could mold it and he could move it. So he added the letter L-Y to it and moved it next to the word gifted, uniquely gifted. He also saw many words he'd never heard of before. As he was having thoughts about this, he would see more words pop up, some of them the very words that he was thinking. For example, he had thought, "Wow, this is incredible." And before his eyes, he saw the word incredible appear. For someone who loves the impact of words, this really made Jurri smile. He decided he would have to spend a lot more time having fun with that later. Next, he saw gold bricks that made a walkway. Of course, this made him reminisce about the movie The Wizard of Oz that he had watched several times. As he stepped on the bricks, each one of them made a different sound, and it lit up with a different color. Some of the sounds and colors he recognized from Earth, and others were sounds and colors that he had not heard or seen before. Even though Jurri was clearly a creative person, this was outside any imaginative work he could have dreamed of. He talked with the Spirit and opened up his spirit so that he could absorb and retain every single aspect of this encounter. He got caught up in the expansion of the gold walkway. If he stood still, there was only a foot or two of the walkway that he could see. But every time he took a step, he saw more of the walkway in front of him. As he continued on the walkway, he felt a breeze in his hair. And when he acknowledged that in his mind, he could literally see what breeze looks like. It was like it had 3 dimensions to it, and he could see it gently moving. As the breeze was moving, it carried with it some intoxicating smells. As those aromas hit his nostril, he was overcome with a tingling sensation throughout his body. All of this together was overly stimulating all of his 5 senses. The sensing organs associated with each sense was sending information to his brain to help him understand and perceive the world around him. While this was happening, he ascertained he had other senses besides the 5 he knew about, but he didn't have words to explain them. He asked the Spirit to help him remember them so he could journal about them later. He finally saw his cabin, which was not a cabin at all, as it had been explained to him. His accommodations were clear glass-like walls that he could easily see through. His name wasn't mentioned in the sign over the doorway, which read, "Permission granted." He knew that was where he was meant to stay. He entered inside and was greeted with the most intense and incredible atmosphere of excitement, joy, energy, and adventure. He could literally feel the atmosphere because it was so tangible. He heard the Spirit say, "Vault of Heaven."
Nice.
He set his bag down and moved around the place. He wasn't able to find the bedroom or anything that represented a bed. That was peculiar, he thought. He moved about the place and realized none of it was typical housing or a hotel like on planet Earth where you would stay when you would go on a trip. It didn't seem to worry him, though, and later on he would more fully understand why. He had explored for so long he was certain the 2 hours must be close to being up, and it would be time to meet with the others. When he looked at his watch, it showed that only 2 minutes had gone by. How could that be? His watch must have stopped working correctly, so he looked around the room for something that showed the time, and as he thought about that, a clock appeared before him. It confirmed only 2 minutes indeed had gone by.
Wow.
He decided to spend the rest of his time before he met up with the group with the Spirit, so that he could hear and know what the game plan was. Time with the Spirit is always all-consuming and exquisite, making time go by quickly, so he set his watch for 1 hour and 55 minutes. Thinking 1 minute was plenty of time to rejoin the group once his watch alarm sounded. Eons later, beep, 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 and off Jurri went. Inceptio.
That's it?
That's it.
That's how it ends?
That's how it ends.
Okay. Wow.
Was it a little bit like a fire hose?
Well, yeah. I think I like what Deborah just said about operating outside of time. It's definitely the through line of all the ideas here. It has to do with time. And you picked up on at the beginning about urgency. My personality has a flaw, one of its flaws, and it's called urgency, and it gets me into trouble a lot, where I get impatient and I want to go around that person driving 10 miles an hour in a 30-mile-an-hour zone. That is a problem I have, and so I want to get things done. I'm like some people are so enamored with history. I am enamored with the future, and I want to go into the future, and so urgency is part of that because I'm just I can't stand being in the present, and that's the problem because sometimes you need to be present, right? So, but the idea of time here, wow, this is interesting. I wonder, I have to look in like a book about numbers, about all the numbers that you have there, what the symbols of the numbers are.
So let's check the chat.
Yeah.
While we're looking at the chat, Jurri, to see if anyone maybe has given us some insight to numbers.
One person says, packed with so much. Great story, Marsha, from Mike. Julie, great job, Marsha. Julie So thank you guys. Thank
Yes.
you. Co-creating with the Father. Way to go, Marsha. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
That's great. So we had the number 444
Yeah.
and Planet 55.
Mhm.
Those were a couple of the numbers. I got to share something with you.
Yeah.
So
You should-
as Jurri says when he's giving a story to us, he doesn't research things to create the story, and I did not either. So when I heard Planet 55, I have a thing for 55, for 555 specifically.
Okay.
So the number 5 represents grace in one capacity, and that's one of the things that draws me to it.
Thank you, Alisha.
One of the things I wanted to share is that I Googled Planet 55 after I wrote the story.
Are you kidding
like
me?
days
There's
later.
a Planet 55.
There is a Planet 55 called 55 Cancri.
a diamond super Earth, a diamond planet.
It is 40 light years from our solar system, and it is believed to be the first ever discovered planet to consist largely of diamonds.
Wow. So you guys know how diamonds are made, right? With incredible pressure and time and pressure with carbon element to make the crystals. So like that's not a fun experience. Let me see here. Dewey Down says, such a great story, but I still feel it isn't finished. I agree. Possibly a part 2. Maybe you should come back. Or maybe it's just supposed to keep us hanging to press into him, the mystery of God. Well, you're in charge right now, so go ahead.
Well, so Dewey there is John, mine and Edwin's pastor in Wenatchee. And
Hey.
John, thank you for your comment. And that's what Edwin had shared with me as well. And I had asked John actually and our friend Aaron and Deb to proofread grammatically and things like that, because you have that skill, but
not really.
I got
the software.
I got a C in English. So anyhow, John is a teacher, so that was helpful. So when I email it to you, it hopefully will be grammatically correct.
Nice.
But that was a comment I got from Edwin and John and Aaron. Deb, however, got
a comment about the diamond planet.
No, about it not being finished.
Okay.
It builds up and then kind of like leaves you hanging.
Yeah.
We maybe spoke about that a little bit at dinner, where you come to the edge.
The precipice.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what I had sensed, because when Edwin said, you just left us hanging, Marsha, I was like, I better check with the Lord. But I didn't get any more of your story.
Okay.
What I sensed when I checked with the Lord about it is that the story will continue to be written between you and the Father. So
see, this is like what I always say, is that the prophetic story is to be handed to somebody so that they finish their parable, and I have to do the same thing.
Yes, I do believe that will be something you'll have fun doing.
Okay.
So
wow.
One question I have for you is, how did this story hit your heart?
Well, like I said at the beginning of a conversation about the time, the theme of time is here, and that it's not, it's like something seems a long period of time is a very short period of time. So it's almost as if time is inconsistent in its length and breadth. Well, that's like time thing. That's like the character of me. But then it's also my role is that I show up on this spaceship and I'm the commander. The commander of other people looking to me. Well, I have to be honest. I've been doing this show at the seat of my pants. I write these stories for my guests at the seat of my pants. And I don't know necessarily where it's going to go or where I'm going. And I feel vulnerable right now. And I know I'm helping people. But right now we're at dinner and we talked about the thing called the being at the precipice, where when you're at the edge and you're gonna fall thousands of feet, and you have to make a decision to change. That's where I'm at today, guys. I'm at a place where I have to not resist what's happening in my life. I have to embrace it, and I have to not fight against it. And so one of the things is that about being a leader in this story is, you know, I don't reveal all things about my past on shows, but one of the biggest problems I've had in my life is being a victim. And to become a leader and a commander, that victim mentality can't be present. I'm speaking on right now. I don't have this prepared. I'm speaking from my heart. And so if I'm going to change for the better in this situation, then I need to, like what Edwin said at dinner, is to forgive myself for engaging in victimhood and acknowledge that process, that pattern, and then basically I don't get some healing and walk away from it, because I need to take responsibility for me. And so when this story is promising me a significant role of influence, of leadership, where people look to you, I don't want to be stuck in a performance mentality or that mindset of transactional relationship, but I want to encounter love, and the love of God in the heart, in my heart, and then to fully be present with me and my family, and then out of that internal place of love, not victimhood, and reacting that way, then I can become that leader. Now, I know I've spoken a lot. What do you think? I'm making myself clear?
To me, you're making yourself very clear, and I'm glad that you recognize that. So I think one of the things that is a gemstone in the prophetic and in prophetic storytelling, and I've heard you tell stories, get stories from the Lord, and release stories to people I know and people I don't know. And a common thread is revealing or bringing to a highlight who they really are, what they really carry, and a part of their destiny.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so
their identity and destiny. Exactly. Yeah.
And so part of who you really are is a leader, and someone that people can look to, and someone people can trust. So I want to share something from the chat from Brian.
Is he on our chat?
He's on our chat, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
He says, Planet 55 would be a double portion of grace. Jesus is the one that paid the way, and I love the whoever's last in the world will be first in the kingdom. So you got on the craft last. You got off first. Great job, Marsha. I think the whole story explains that through the work you do, you're taking all kinds of different people on this voyage, and more will be revealed.
Wow.
Ooh, yeah. So he's relating it to some of your prophetic storytelling.
Yeah.
I want to read to you what's in this book that your wife gave us that pertains to numbers. The number 5. Grace is a lot like a schoolyard scene. The big bully wants a skinny kid's lunch money, and there he is, pinned against the wall. His glasses falling off, and his face is still stinging from the last embarrassing punch.
I lived that, guys. That's exactly in my life growing up.
He's completely helpless and utterly humiliated when all of a sudden a supernatural power comes rising up from within him. He takes on the strength of a Marvel Comics superhero.
I am Iron Man.
And punches the bully all the way across the schoolyard.
Nice.
The grace of God is just like that. It is God-given ability to overcome something that is otherwise impossible to defeat. Grace is for the underdogs.
Wow, that's great, because like the Planet 55. So let me unpack some of this. So diamonds are made in pressure and heat, and it's incredible pressure and incredible heat to have those crystals made. And when there's something double in the Bible, like 55, which is grace, that comes from the story of Joseph, where Joseph says that the fact that the dreams repeated themselves, it means that God is determined to make it so. So that's interesting. So, Jenny, I love you. Jenny Wheeler, be our friend forever. I love you.
Jenny, I probably need to meet you.
She's in Idaho.
Okay.
You'll lead us into heavenly places, perhaps write a book or instruction on how to tap into heaven, bringing heaven down to earth with real life experiences. Well, I'm actually writing that very book right now. It's called How to Find Treasure in Your Story, A Guide to Prophetic Parables. I'm in the middle of drawing that right now. Alisha goes, Jen, Jurri's actually working on that book. Yep, I just said that. No way, wow. Mike says, you're the commander of your own story. That's true.
Oh, good one,
That's a
Mike.
good one. Being the hero in your own story is something Alisha phrased for me some time ago. Deborah says, Jurri, the numbers tell their own story. And then Dewey Down, is that your pastor?
Yeah, John. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. He says, Jurri, I appreciate your vulnerability. Yeah, thank you. What's next?
I did look up what the number 3 means.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps someone out in our chat could look up what the number 4 means. The number 3 appears in the Bible 467 times, fewer than the number 7, but more than most of the other numbers. Oh gosh, that wasn't the one I wanted to read. Hold on. Sorry. Let's get over here.
Well, while she's looking, everybody who's here is watching. I want to thank you for showing up today, for being with me on my special day. Number 4 is an open door, is what Alisha said.
Oh, okay.
Open door. So if you're new to this program, please, if you are willing, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and ring the notification bell, because we are presenting all sorts of new things and content going forward. And I would love just to share that with you as you join our journey and adventure. So I want to thank you for being with me today and being part of my gift from her this time. So, yeah.
Okay, so the number 3 has a meaning of completeness.
Okay.
And I'm not going to expand on that.
Where was number 3 in the story?
Number 3 was towards the beginning. And
Gate 3.
Gate 3, yes.
Gate 3.
Oh, and number 4 means open door.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, so the flight 444 is like big open doors, and Gate 3 is a pathway to completeness. Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
And Julie also said 3 means harmony as well.
Okay.
So, what element of the story is encouraging to you?
Well, you had this special technology that allows me to see the words in front of my eyes, or floating in the air. See, when I write text, I don't want to do text. That's an evangelical way of communicating. I like images. So when I write, I'm painting a picture with words. So I don't want to be like locked into a literal text of a word. But the fact is that it's still an image in her story to me, and I'm playing with words. I always said, I had this stupid joke. I says, I was poor as a child. I didn't have toys. I had dictionaries, and I learned to play with words. And so that's what's going on in the story. So that shows a fantastical, fun ability just to communicate and inspire people and open people's eyes.
That's good.
Brian Powell says, so if I remember right, 333, which is in the Bible, would reference the promised land and spiritually represents body, mind, and soul.
Yes, I do recall that, Brian. And also in the book that I have here on the desk, 3 also represents the presence of God. And That's a pretty
Yeah.
good thing right there. You partner the presence of God with
Yeah.
promises. So I looked up the meaning of the color orange, and it means spirit of wisdom.
Okay.
And have you had encounters with the spirit of wisdom?
Yes, I have. Yes. She is beautiful. It's so funny, like when I first wanting to seek her out, you read about this in the book of Proverbs. It's actually biblical and not weird and new age. But, if you realize that you don't have to wait till you die to go to heavenly places, you can just go there right now, and that you can meet God and everyone else already. It's in the Bible. It happens. It's not meant to be weird. It's supposed to be normal. So when I was first met with her, she was like, finally you've come to me. It's so good to see you. She was so open and welcoming, and she's beautiful, and she has a beautiful gown that has galaxies and stars all over her. And I was just shocked by how open and friendly she is. And I realize I don't spend enough time engaging with her, and I need to. And I think everybody should too, because they don't teach wisdom in school or in the world, and we need it desperately so that we can navigate our life better, right? Handle conflict better or whatever. Yeah.
Julie also shared that wisdom is full of joy and creativity.
Okay.
So some of her characteristics.
Yeah.
Purple represents God, our eternal King, and wisdom, and authority, royalty, spirituality, creativity. I could go on. Purple represents a lot.
Oh, yeah.
So you can look more into that. Gold represents God's divine nature, purity, fire, precious treasure, wealth, inheritance. So
where are these three things in the story? I forget.
So you had the gold bricks.
Oh, yes.
In the reference to Wizard of Oz. It's funny. Edwin and I just watched Wizard of Oz just a couple days ago. And then purple was one of the ladies that was looking at you. Her shirt was purple.
Okay.
Orange was the gentleman's hat who called you commander. And we'll have to look and see if there were other colors, but those are the three that I recall. So if you put together the colors and the numbers, there's quite a bit of symbolism in that already.
Hold on, I need to interrupt.
Yes.
Bird's Eye 307. I know who you are. And I want to thank you for being in my life. And thank you for supporting me. I won't be a victim. Okay? You're helping me. You saw me in a low place. And now you're seeing me rise up. Thank you. I mean that. So you know what I'm talking about.
That's good.
He says, Jurri, you are royal and loyal. Thank you.
Good. That's true. I looked at the meaning of planets, and it says, do not limit yourself to the boundaries of this world. You have a lot to discover. I know personally, Jurri, through our conversations, that is definitely something that you carry.
What is it? I missed it.
It says, one of the references about planets is, it says, do not limit yourself to the boundaries of this world. You have a lot to discover. So I know that is what you love to do, is spend time with the Lord in heavenly places, exploring and discovering more of who our King is and how his kingdom works. And so I loved that your story included another planet.
It's out of this world.
It's out of this world. Planets also represents God's creativity and unexplored vastness, or without limits in him.
Yeah. It reminds me of the Star Trek from the movie with the Genesis Project. Where they basically build their own planet. That's so cool.
That's good. So one of the things I looked up the word authority, because that's what commander represents. And under the word authority, it says, you will be triumphant if you exercise your authority. So if you exercise your authority as commander, you'll be triumphant.
Okay.
So I know that one of your desires is to advance the kingdom of God and bring the richness and the fullness of who the Lord is into the lives of other people. And so I think through your story, that is continuing to propel you in that direction.
Okay. Wow. Lots to chew on, guys.
So
respect my authority. Yes, Bird's Eye 307. I do respect your authority.
I wanted to read
Thank you.
one other description that
Yeah.
I looked up, because the word breeze
Breeze.
was in your story.
Oh yeah.
And it became three-dimensional. At least in your story, it was three-dimensional. And it carried with it aromas. And so there was some pretty descriptive words regarding breeze. So I felt like the word breeze was important. When I looked that up, it says, you are a breath of fresh air when you are on the scene. I believe that's true about you.
Really? Thank you.
Oh, yes,
That's
definitely.
very friendly. Thank you.
Your words are gentle and kind, bringing healing and restoration. You are very skilled and find things that would challenge others' abilities to be things that are easy. They've become easy to you because you've practiced them.
Right.
You challenge them in other people's lives so that they can become a part of who they are.
Yeah.
And you have great grace. That's been one of your crowns.
Thank you. Well, you talk about practicing. So, like, the story mentions the 5 senses, right? So, I do this prophetic storytelling. I know how to do it. I just do it because I practice this muscle and I keep doing it. And so for those of you out there who are rusty or brand new to anything, practicing a new creative bent or spiritual idea, just keep using it and developing it. We can get better and better and better at it.
I have something else from the chat.
Okay.
Julie says, all creation is groaning for us to become who we were created to be. That is such an accurate word. I wanted to share something that Deb shared with me.
Thank you, Deborah.
Jurri, you are stepping through the gate into the supply of heaven as you finish only to begin again. Something new. Vibration.
I like that.
Yeah. And I'll send this to you.
Yeah.
Vibration reveals mysteries. Chaos reveals the things that are hidden. From the gate, as you step through into the new, onto his path for you, go low in humility of honor into the portal of other realms and dimensions. The seed of faith in you will be planted and sprout, emerging into abundant life. Behold and look, God's presence will reveal. Listen for his still small voice. You already know what the seed is. Step out boldly, Commander.
Thanks. Please send that to Alisha and I. Thank you, Deborah. That's prescient. Thank you. Mike says, Jurri, when you mentioned victimhood, it reminded me of what I told my daughter once. You can choose to be a victim of your circumstances or a victor over them. Jurri, you are a victor.
Yes.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Brian says, yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Wow. Are we done?
I have shared with you what I feel the nuggets were the Lord gave to me just a half an hour before our show. I was frantically writing.
Well, yeah, guys. So now that I've been on the receiving end, let me this method of encouragement is so wealthy and rich with meaning and inspiration and creativity and visualization. I mean, This is what makes it worth it for me. Because do you choose to accept the story? Do you mean accept like I accept it, or you? Oh yeah, got your spelling. Yes, I do accept this story.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I do.
Good question. Who
that was
sent
Deborah.
that? Yes, good
Yeah.
question. That's something you ask us.
We forgot to do our little teaching about symbolism and choosing. Mike says, "Great job, Marsha."
Oh, thank you.
So, it's kind of like drinking a really expensive wine or a succulent chocolate mousse piece of pie. You don't want to just inhale it. You want to let it savor in the mouth and in your taste buds. That's how I feel about this story for me, and its richness and its beauty. And I mean, I will have to chew over the text and look at it more and more and let it unfold for me. One thing I practice often is looking internally into the place of the Spirit or into an imagination. Keep looking and see, what is it that I need to see more? I'm always on that adventure and that hunt. Yeah, Bird's Eye, what a perfect time for this. Yeah, it is. Yeah, thank you. And so it is very timely to have this story, and considering everything that's going on. So I'm very grateful, Marsha, for you gifting me this. Thank you. And you didn't seem nervous in any way in my eyes. I think I was the one shaking here. And you handled the conversation really well. You did your homework. I give you an A+.
Oh, thank you. Can I share something?
Yeah.
So I was really nervous actually, but one of the things that's wonderful about being with Jurri and spending time with him, especially in this setting, is because of the giftings that he carries, he is really good at navigating the conversation to help dig out the treasures in your story, at least parts of them. And so I just want to give a plug. If you haven't received a story, I really encourage you to do so. Those of you, and I won't name names, but there's a couple who said, I'm related to one of them, and he's upstairs with Jurri's wife. Sorry, Jurri's wife. Too nervous to do it live or via video if you're not here in Thermopolis. Right. And I just want to share that Jurri's so good at what he does that it becomes easy to sit and have the conversation with him. And then the wonderful richness that the people in the chat bring to it is essential. It really is. Our friend Brian, who's listening in and has commented in the chat, he got his story a couple of weeks ago.
Yep. That was good.
It was so profound and so spot on of some of Brian's part of his journey that's already happened and where he's going. And my husband Edwin shared with me that it had profound impact on him. Wow. And so you getting your story is wonderful for you, but it also can have an effect on someone else's life. And so I really encourage you to do that and not only get a story, but be bold. Be bold like Jurri was tonight to receive a story and receive it in person and allow that conversation to unpack afterwards. I really encourage you to do that. And with them having a special right now, 2 stories for $145, that is a tremendous deal. So I encourage you to do that. I wanted to share also with those of you who maybe are like me and think that you can't do this or you can't do that. God's word says all things are possible with him. And so I had a heart for Jurri because he's my friend, and that's the reason I really stepped out and did this. But I just want to encourage all of us to get outside of our comfort zones because that's where Jesus gets glorified.
Yeah, thank you, Marsha. That's great. And I have something else. It's like I'll be a little greedy because my wife, Alisha, she loves getting stories from me over the years, and she's like 5 or 6 over the years. if you want to give me a story, I would say go for it. Think about that. Like, if you want to come on, if you're in town, come see me. Or if you want to remote in and you have something to say to me as a story, I'm game for that. I'd be happy to do that. So I want to stretch you guys as well. Marsha was challenging herself about the whole thing, and well, look at that. She shines. And so I'm so thankful. So, let's have a two-way street. I need this. Do you know what I mean? I benefit from it too. I guys, who have been watching this show for almost a year now, I've been pouring my heart out to all sorts of people almost on a weekly basis. In the summer, it was sometimes 2 shows a week. One week there was 2 shows in a day. I'll never do that again. But the thing is, like, I need help too, guys.
And I'll tell you what, this is how non-religious it is, how you can just flow with the Holy Spirit. I got the title the night before. That next day I went to lunch at Peking restaurant in Wenatchee, and that's where I wrote the story, was over lunch. So it's wonderful when you let God move in you and through you. I wanted to share also regarding Jurri's wife, Alisha. She does amazing artwork. And so I recently requested and paid for my story to have a storybook created.
Wow.
And so I'm just going to hold up a couple of her books with the front covers. And she does artwork. And I ordered a hardbound one. And she's going to do some creativity inside as well. It's going to be more than just the cover. So I did that as a Christmas gift to myself, honey. I'm telling you, I don't think I told you I did that. But I wanted the whole thing. The story is wonderful, but when you partner it together with a prophetic artist, it really brings a fuller version of it. So I'm excited to get that. I'm not sure how far out that is, but I know she's working on it. So I'm in anticipation.
Wow, me too. I want to see it too. Wow, Marsha, thank you for being my PR person.
Yes, you're very welcome.
Thank you, everybody, for being in the chat. We're just about an hour. I think that we've modeled a beautiful time together of prophetic storytelling, and I have been so blessed to be on the receiving end. And now I need to just chew on it. I need time for processing this story, and I'll need the printout, and I'll need the notes that you researched and all that. So, guys, if you want to get a story, get a story. It's really good, really worth it. Think about it. We have this Black Friday sale for the end of the month. Think about who you'd want to gift it to. If you don't know, then that's okay. You can do it later. If you do know who you want to gift it to, just give us their name and their email address, and don't miss out on this opportunity, because if you see the other videos that's on our channel, many of these people's lives have been significantly impacted and transformed by their story. So if you don't do it, you're honestly missing out of an opportunity of richness. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Bird's Eye says, let it soak in. That is a lot to chew on. Yeah. Jenny says, I bought a beautiful lion picture from Alisha. Cool. So guys, thank you so much, man. Let's land the plane. Okay.
Her lion that she drew.
The painting?
Or the painting.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. It is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Well, I want to also thank everyone. I text a few people and asked them to be on and help Jurri receive this. And thank you for taking your time to do that, and to pray about it, and to be on and to be a part of the chat. And I just want to say, Pastor Joe, you're on here tonight, and I just want to challenge you. You're right here in Thermopolis. It'd be super fun. Oh, yep, there he is. Great show. It'd be super fun if you wrote a story, Joe.
Joe write me a story?
Joe write you a story
wow.
and deliver it in person, or maybe
that's stretching.
Maybe Joe and his son John together or something. But anyhow, thank you, everyone. It was truly delightful to be here and to have you be a part of it.
Cool. So Birdseye says that would look good in my office, Jurri. What's he
Oh,
referring?
he must mean the lion.
Oh, the lion. Oh, yeah. Well, I'll show you a picture of you and of it for you. Cool, guys. Well, that wraps up our show. Thank you very much for being with us tonight. Thank you for your love and your encouragement to me. Thank you, Alisha, for everything. And thank you for Marsha and Edwin being part of our lives. So you guys have a good night, and we'll see you on the next broadcast. See you guys. Bye-bye.